It will.
Right now, we have everybody back in chamber. We have a motion to resume.
So,
Support.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, so we are resuming at 7:44 PM. The consent calendar items, we only have the minutes from our September 8th included. Do I have a motion to approve?
Mayor Snyder, I would like to make an amendment to the consent calendar for the approval of agenda item A, the agenda itself. So I'm sorry, this is nitpicky. I should have just reached out to Joe beforehand, but it says that to change item P, discussion and resolution of resolution number 2021-30. So the original item was 29, the resolution was 29, and the title of the resolution was the commitment to ensure preservation of order and civil discourse. So I just wanted to make sure that it was consistent and also demonstrated that it changed. But that's the only.
So you catch where she's at. So on the minutes from the last meeting. Page 19, page 19, yeah, of the agenda, or the packet. Yeah, so she is on A. Where it says agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get it in writing. So it's just an amendment to demonstrate that there was a change between the resolution.
So in that paragraph, that's what she wants to make the amendment. Everybody else on council, follow along with what she was saying. You good with that? So motion to approve with that amendment.
So moved.
Support. City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. The next we have the approval for the resolution to declare precinct 1 council seat vacant. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Do we have any questions or comments on this?
Are you suggesting people are, or is it going back to precinct 1 to vote on this?
So in the, so this is just that it's vacant, and we're now publicly stating that it's vacant. So Colin, do you want to add that?
Yeah, so as the council's aware, former councilwoman Clark resigned. She did so orally at the meeting on the 7th, and then subsequently that evening, she did so in writing with the city clerk. And so, because she moved outside of the city, so under the city's charter, when somebody ceases to have the qualifications to hold office, the seat is vacant, and so this is just a formal declaration that the seat is now vacant. Pursuant to our city charter, the city needs to appoint someone to fill one seat within 60 days. So my suggestion, I mean, and this will be something for a future meeting. This is just to declare the seat vacant, but we just follow the same procedure we did last time to appoint Councilman Clark to council and basically give a short window of time to take applications, conduct an interview, and then by my calculations, we would have to appoint someone to the seat by November 6th. Your first meeting in November is November 1st. So unless we hold a special meeting, you would have 3 meetings remaining to appoint someone.
Okay. So then, would they submit an application just as any other person who is looking to join like a board or commission?
I think that's what we did last time.
Councilwoman Lanier?
Councilman Williamson, have to say that.
Okay,
I was actually gonna ask, and this might be a question for the attorney, but could we actually amend this to and open the application process? That way people can start applying, and then at our next meeting, we can set a deadline for when we'd like applications to be turned in. I know that 3 council meetings seems like a long time, but it's really not, and I want to give people time, especially in precinct 1, to be able to, if they need a physical application, if they need to access it at the library, we need to make sure that folks have access to it, so.
I don't think you need to add that. I think it can just be posted, because once you declare it vacant, we'll just post it, and then any procedures in terms of interviews or whatever you want to do, you can decide at your next meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Snyder. My question was with regard to the procedures for the interviews. Attorney Harkness, were you indicating that we could do interviews during a regular council meeting?
So what they did, I would say this, it depends on how many applications you get. What we had to do last time is because we actually had 4, I think we did it on a weekend, didn't we? No, we did it before a regular meeting. We took an hour, I think we called a study session at 6, gave each of them 15 minutes, and then did the regular meeting. And so we basically kept them, I think, in what is Jill's office, and then brought them in one at a time and did interviews.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Waller?
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. What if we find nobody? Well,
Technically, under the charter, we're supposed to appoint someone, but if we don't have anyone apply, I mean, it's not from a lack of trying. I mean, I would say the city's not in violation of the charter because you try to comply, but we can't force people to take the seat. So, I mean, quite frankly, we may get applicants that don't have qualifications, like they might have unpaid taxes or, utilities or something like that. They can't hold the seat if they don't meet the criteria.
so what do we do if we need nobody?
Then I would suggest that we reopen for applications and have a longer application period if we can't get somebody.
So where did I read, and I thought I read somewhere that we had 6 months to do this.
60 days.
60 days.
Yeah, section. I think 4.12 of our charter says we have to do it within 60 days,
Okay.
but I'll double check right now. So it says, if a vacancy occurs in an elective office, except in the case of a recall, the council shall fill the vacancy by appointment within 60 days thereafter.
Yes, Councilman Lee.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. To confirm, as this is being open, if we're aware of someone that wants to apply, we would direct them to the board and commission application. Okay.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Councilman Williamson.
This is a great opportunity for us to be talking to folks in precinct 1 about who they want to represent them. Precinct 1 has historically been a very hard precinct to recruit and get folks to serve on council. And I know that I will be, but I hope everyone else on council will be reaching out to anybody that we know who lives in that area, and talking to folks and being strategic about finding someone who's eligible, can serve with council. That part of our community deserves really good representation. Councilmember Clark was a great representative for precinct 1, and we need to make sure that continues for precinct 1. So I just want to encourage everybody to recruit. Word of mouth is the best way to do it. And so I know that I will be talking to folks there as well.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Williamson,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, next is our approval of the resolution to dedicate Holland Park Pavilion to Dr. Harry Bonner Senior. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support. Councilwoman Reed, you want to take over on this one? Pardon? Your agenda item?
I'm not on.
a resolution to approve the designation of the pavilion to Paragon.
Oh, we did that yesterday.
No, I know, but this is part of the agenda, so I just want to know if you wanted to speak on this.
Well, we had the naming of the pavilion yesterday out at Holland Park. And it went really nice. It had to be about 60 people there. It was full.
It was full.
And I think it went over very well. Mr. Bonner was very pleased to have it named after him. And the mayor was there, and so.
Yeah, so I mean, and you know, I give you great kudos for coordinating that event to honor Dr. Bonner. I know, like you had said, he didn't want it, but you decided to still push him on it and to get that done. And so I think that's gonna be a great honor that's gonna be lasting beyond his years, so that people know and will remember his input and how many lives he touched. So it was a wonderful event.
I'm
So-
just now wanting to make sure, and I've called quite earlier Parks Committee, because we need to get a set of rules set for the pavilion so that we can keep it neat and well kept.
Right, do we have questions, comments on this item? Councilman Miller?
Was after me. Anyway, so with this pavilion is one of the things that's added to our list to say if you want to rent it, you have to, okay. Thank you.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, next is our ordinance, our second reading of the ordinance, to amend chapter 22, article 6. Motion to approve.
Second.
Attorney Harkness?
Yeah, so this is the same ordinance we went over last time. This deals with the adult use marijuana facilities, probably the largest change. Well, there are two significant changes to the ordinance. The first one is, instead of just having the businesses located within the M1 and M2 zoning districts, which is effectively the industrial park, it directs that the facilities have to operate within a designated overlay district, which are in the process of being created by the planning commission, and then will come to the council for approval. You should have your first reading October 18th and your second reading November 1st. The overlay districts, I mean, obviously I'll defer to planning commission on what they recommend to council, but basically the overlay districts encompass the existing facilities that are in that are either licensed for medical or adult use in the industrial park presently. And so the licenses, the total number of licenses for the adult use facilities will become uncapped, but they'll effectively be limited by virtue of geography. There can be an unlimited number of licenses, but only a certain number of parcels that can have those licenses. The other significant change is previously the adult use ordinance didn't have quite as many regulations as the medical ordinance, because the way that the state regulations used to be, you used to have medical in order to have adult use. And so by virtue of applying for medical, they met all the requirements that we would have put on them for adult use anyway. That is no longer the case. So we basically added many of the same regulations to the adult use facilities that the medical ordinance also required. This ordinance does not take effect until November 20th. The reason for that is to allow the zoning changes to occur before these ordinances take effect. And they will take effect almost on top of each other.
Any questions or comments for Attorney Harkness? Any questions, Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson.
No.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Next on the agenda is the second reading of the adoption of ordinance 2021-08, to amend chapter 22, article 5. Attorney Harkness?
This again, this deals with the medical facilities. It does not make any modification to the number. The reason that we didn't modify the number of medical facilities is medical is largely, I don't want to say it's being phased out, but it only services a very minute portion of the population since adult use came into play. Realistically, it only affects people under the age of 21, which is a very small market. So realistically, the only significant change to the medical ordinance is that the facilities need to be located within the designated overlay districts. There were some other small changes that we made, but that's a substantive one. And as I said, we didn't modify the number.
I have a motion to approve. So,
Second.
do I have questions for Attorney Harkness? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
No.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right. Future agenda items. Do we have any? Yes, Councilwoman Lanu.
I would like to, it's not an agenda item, it's a well, it's a presentation item. The superintendent, the interim superintendent of Marshall Public Schools, is trying to do as much outreach as possible and has offered to come present to us. So I have some materials here to make sure we all have access to information about the upcoming bond proposal. And she will be able to come and both present the information, but then help us be able to field the questions that we're receiving from residents of our community. I know a lot of people are concerned about this, as they have been since the annexation happened. So I just wanted that to be an agenda item. And then with regard to one element that I have already heard, because of the way in which the literature appears that there will be no bond increase for the Marshall residents, but a 3 mil increase. I just wanted to make sure people know right away that the Marshall residents are paying 7.05 mils for their public school taxes, and Albion residents only recently stopped paying for any mills, and we were paying 2.31 just earlier this year. That stopped. So this proposed increase would be larger than what we had previously paid. And yeah, just wanted to make sure those were points of clarification that we all had right away.
The other thing I just wanted to add to that too, because I went to an informational session. While it says there's no increase on Marshall voters, we eventually all over the time span pay the same. So by the time we're at the end of this bond, both Marshall residents and Albion residents will be paying the same 3.0 mils. Marshall will just be extending out their mills longer because they're paying for their pre-annexation debt. So that's why it's so important for Becky Jones, the interim superintendent, to really talk to people, because there has been a lot of misinformation given about what this actually means for the school district. So thank you, Councilman Lilly, for inviting her to present that. I think that'll be helpful.
Councilwoman Miller.
Is council exempt from, like having a sign that says supports it?
We can't tell the public to vote one way or the other. You can only provide information regarding the bond issue as a council.
So you wouldn't be able to have a vote no or a vote yes?
As a council member, as an individual citizen, you could, but as a council or as a council member, you cannot. So,
For as the city, we can't say yes or no, correct?
correct.
So we can just share information to educate the community on the options for when they go to vote, but we can't influence one way or the other.
So you can't put a sign yes or no?
Yeah, yes, you can.
In your yard, you could, yes.
Okay.
I can put a yes vote for the bond or no in my yard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but you would hear.
Like what I was saying today is the council cannot advocate one way or the other.
Thank you.
Yes.
So everyone should have received the review for the city attorney evaluation. So ideally, I'd like to do that the second meeting in October if possible.
And I received my evaluation forms from you all, and I would like mine on the next meeting in open session, please.
Next meeting.
Ms. Mayor,
Yes, Councilor.
did we answer the question about when, the evaluation has to be turned in? Did we answer the question?
No,
I
so
didn't see it.
knowing that, we want this prepared for Cohen for the second meeting of October. Calendar.
The second meeting is the 18th.
I'm sorry, I'm opening my phone, everyone. I got the calendar. So I would ideally like that to me by the 8th.
The 8th of October?
8th of October.
Okay. 5 p.m. or 5 p.m.?
Yes, 5 p.m. is good. Is that good with everyone? Okay, thank you. Any other agenda items?
Not for this next meeting, but I just want to let council know, our engineer firm, Whiteman and Associates, they have put together, as requested by council, additional local, a potential local street millage. So we do have those amounts. We have met internally to review and discuss, and we're trying to coordinate schedules so that their team can come and answer the questions that you may have. So we will be presenting that information to you all at the 2nd October meeting. As well as we will be sending out for budget study sessions coming up as well.
Any other future agenda items? Okay. Public comment. Do we have anyone in the gallery who would like to speak? Looking to address city council? Do you have anybody? No? I mean, that are willing to, or want to speak?
There's nobody bringing up.
Okay. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. So a copy of our report was included in the packet. So the first, second, third, Mild and Harlow Streets project, we have the meeting minutes from the 7th and the 8th progress meeting. That project is at the final stage of completion. They are working to install street signs, do the final overlay of asphalt as well as street markings. We have the final walkthrough scheduled for this Friday, September 24th. We were very excited to see that project be completed. The Albion River Trail expansion project, so that was another project that we was set to be completed this summer. It began on September 7th, which is a long delay of when it was anticipated to originally begin. Unfortunately, the construction company that was awarded the project may experience turnover with the project manager, and that heavily delayed that project, but it is going, and it is anticipated to be completed in November. So I'm working to submit an amendment to the mission, the MDNR to request a grant extension, because that project is funded by a grant that we received. Temporary housing facilities, so in response to council's goals of addressing the increasing homeless population in our community, I had the opportunity to tour 3 temporary housing facilities in Battle Creek, Haven West, Safe Haven, and the Battle Creek Homeless Shelter on September 8th. It was nice to get over to see the facility, see the services that they provide to residents within that community. And it seems like that they will be a great resource to assist the city in finding out ways to address the issue that we are experiencing in our community. So I will continue to build connections with the 3 entities, and I will keep you all informed as that progress moves forward. rental certification program. After all of the local pre-meetings, that was the topic of discussion. So Director Arnold and I met with Safe Belt on September 8th to reassess our service agreement with them and to discuss the possibility of introducing some type of program here in our community. So I will keep you apprised as that process moves forward, but that we are looking at putting something in place to increase the just to better improve our housing options that we provide to our residents. It's important that our residents are living in safe and habitable homes. The Albion Building Authority, they held their regular meeting on Thursday, September 9th. The board approved a proposal to develop a capital improvement plan for the Maple Grove facility, which is long overdue. So we are very excited that Wyman and Associates will be working with us to get that in place. I will keep you informed as that process moves along. The Albion College Board Institute, I had the opportunity to speak to a group of first-year Albion College students on September 14th, as well as a few of our department heads. We were able to share the City of Albion's form of government, share different projects that we have in place, and just hear answer questions that they had. I think there was only one student in the class who was from Michigan. Everyone else was from out of state, so it was nice to be able to connect with people who are first time coming to Michigan and hear some of their feedback and questions regarding our city. Diversity, equity, inclusion training. I did send you all an email. Thank you to Councilmember Williamson, who has reached out to the Kellogg Foundation. They provided us additional resources. I have contacted all of them, and I still, at this time, I just have not heard from them yet, but once I do receive additional quotes, I will bring forward information on all the firms so that council can make a decision on which training institute you guys would like to pursue. And just to remind everyone, I will be out of office beginning tomorrow for the rest of the week, attending the 2021 MML convention in Grand Rapids. However, I will have my phone and email with me and be checking in periodically if anything comes up, you still can get a hold of me. And I did send an email at the end of today. It's not included in my report, but I did have the opportunity to speak to the MML consultant in response to resolution 2021-30, I believe it was. I did send you all her background information. She is working to prepare a proposal. She seemed excited to assure the needs that council has before, and she seems excited to come and work with us. So she will be providing me with a proposal. Once I have that, I will bring that forward to council's attention for official approval. And that is all I have.
We have any questions for any of the information? Yes, Councilman Muller.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. So, about the temporary housing facilities, just for clarification, are they working with you do they seem interested in working with you for us to have our own, or for us to maybe take our homeless people over there? Did they specify?
A little bit of both. So I shared the needs that we have here in our community, and then just inquired about the services that they do provide. Obviously, this isn't going to happen overnight. It does take a good amount of resources to build a shelter facility here in town, but until that meantime, they have offered to provide some of their services to residents, and they do have one. I can't remember which facility it is. They do offer transportation services. They do have a bus to where they could come over if we are aware of people who do need somewhere to stay temporarily. So they have offered those services, but yes, we will be working to, the long-term goal is to get a facility here in our community, but in the meantime, we can rely on the other facilities in our county.
Okay, thank you.
Are these houses faith-based or are they nonprofit based?
Two of the three are faith-based, and then the other, the Battle Creek homeless shelter is a community-based. Okay. That was just recently opened in partner with the Battle Creek Community Foundation.
Councilman Williamson.
So I have experience with this because I work for a foundation, but the Battle Creek homeless shelter is what they consider a low barrier homeless shelter. So it is, they don't take anybody, no matter what their condition or current problem is. So that includes people who may be coming down off of drugs, who might be already intoxicated at some level. It's a low bar, And there's no expectation there, it's just we're gonna take care of you, you're gonna have a place to stay, meal, get clean. The other homeless shelters in Battle Creek are what they consider high barrier, and so they accept you as you are, but then there are rules and measures to success, like, okay, so we're gonna get you a job training, and we're gonna get you into recovery. And then there's the third shelter, I believe, is a family shelter, so that's a whole situation when a family is displaced, that's my experience, if those are the ones who visited those, that's what I know about them, so.
That's my information.
So who gets the person over there and help them get enrolled?
Depending on their needs, I would direct them to, speak, you can direct them to my office, and I'd be happy to provide them with the contact info that I have been provided with over in Battle Creek, but they would schedule and work with that individual directly to get them into one of the facilities.
Yes, Councilor
I'm sorry, I
Lynell.
was distracted, I didn't hear the question, but I was curious if it's possible for the entity that provides transportation services, if that phone number could be provided to us, and then maybe even put on the website so that anyone who encounters this issue can have access to that information.
And I believe the one that does provide transportation services, that's for males only. But I will further clarify to see if it is women and children, if they would still be willing to transport them over to one of the other facilities, because they are right all within the same central location.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, okay, yes, I'm sorry.
No,
Last one.
I just have one more question. I really appreciate the update about the rental certification program. That's, we all know that's an issue that continues to come up, and a lot of work was put into that being possible in the city, but I know with regard to what has happened, that there was such concern about the cost involved. So I'm just curious, I don't know if any of the updates include potential for resources to support in the financial sense, and whether that's something that we're seeing any more possibilities to help both the landlords and the tenants.
Any other questions or comments for Haley on her report? Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
And just to, I wanted to talk about the temporary, housing facilities again. I know you said one entity might be for a male and then female family, but yes, if we could get a number, because it does happen often here. So that we can help be supportive, because I know I've seen some things, and usually when I see it, I can only take it to one person that will help them. And so if I could get that information, it would be helpful. So when I do know here, because we do have children, sometimes it's when they go to school, that's having this kind of problem issue with the families, not being able to have what they need, sleeping in their cars and all that kind of stuff.
Any other questions or comments, Haley?
Yes, I have one more.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. But I have to ask, I seen that they were getting the curbs, not the curbs, but the sidewalks put in.
Yes.
And I seen that that was being more expedient. I just wanted to, I know you put something on your report last time, but just kind of more of maybe kind of where they're going to be at fires today, especially going down the street, East Street, when they're gonna complete it. Because I've seen so much fire, individuals that are really in their wheelchairs going down on those mobile carts, almost get hit. People that's riding their bicycles, that are riding in the street versus when they can ride on there. So that's just a concern for me.
Do you have, Director Miller here, do you have any update this on the current status?
Yeah, so the sidewalk crew, they're still in sector 2 of the drawings. They're gonna complete that in the next couple weeks, and they're gonna move to sector 4. The project is supposed to be completed at the end of October, however, because it started so late, most likely it'll be middle of November. So.
But those busy streets, are you guys gonna do, you're gonna buy the sector?
Yeah, and actually we deviated a little bit and focused where the festival was, and then we went back to where we were left off.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for city manager? Okay. Council member comments. Councilman Rowland.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I think I just got to. As far as the equity task force, I was approached by someone that was chosen. And they kind of thought they were the only person on this task force, but I mentioned that there was two. So they asked me to ask all of us, or just to put something on our minds as to try to recruit people for this equity task force, to at least try to find at least one person from our precinct to join this group. I know I have done one, so to get this up and going, because it's like it's just dragging a whole lot. So I just wanted to just bring something to the table to try to help this equity task force to ask if we could, as a friendly ask to try to get at least one person from our precincts so we can get this rolling and move it forward. The second thing is, it was just a question, past complaints that have been made, the people that made the complaint, if it was asked who made it, it was available to the public of the person that made the complaint. As of now, when a person makes a complaint, is it public information or is it not? Because I'm kind of stuck between it, because I've seen some people make complaints and then they ask who made the complaint and it was private, versus when the last person was here, when they said, ask them who made the complaint, the information was given to them. So I'm just asking, is a person that makes a complaint, is it public information or is it not?
My message check in my hearing. I would say it's public information.
Is it covered?
Well, it depends on what kind of complaint we're talking about. I mean, there are things that could affect a complaint, like we're talking about a criminal complaint. It's not public until the investigation is complete. Similarly, if there's an internal investigation going on with the city, it's not public until the investigation is complete. So it depends on what kind of complaint we're talking about. I would say generally they are public, but there are circumstances where they may not be. It just depends on what it is.
So if it's a criminal, it's not, if it's just.
It's not, it wouldn't be public until the investigation. If once the investigation is complete, anybody can submit a FOIA request and obtain like a copy of the police report or the complaint that was made to the public safety department, but not until the investigation is complete. And that would include an internal investigation, because if it were to be released before that, it could compromise the investigation. But generally, they would be public eventually.
So if a person made a complaint about maybe the dogs barking, and they asked who made the complaint, would that be public knowledge?
Yeah, they could submit a FOIA request and they would get that, yeah. I mean, they would redact things like the address and phone number, but the names would be there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other council member comments?
Thank you. I have a few different things. So I just wanted to share, last meeting, we confirmed that we would be starting to host study sessions before the first council meeting of the month. So for the October 4th meeting, the Marshall Opportunity High School cafeteria, we will be able to meet there starting at 5:30. I slightly amended the time from what's in the resolution so that we can have a little bit more buffer on either side, because this is right before a council meeting. So the meeting is going to be hosted from 5:30 to 6:30, which will allow for a little bit of time between the two. And the purpose of this meeting is just to, similar to the town hall concept, just provide more opportunity for discussion. If I receive specific things that people want to have, I'll certainly share that beforehand, and definitely welcome all of the council members to share with me anything that you're hearing and seeing that needs to be added as a discussion item. similar to that, with regard to the council retreat, I've gotten feedback, both from council members and residents about the format of that. And then we only had 3 people respond to the poll. So I'm just kind of curious, I don't know if right now is the proper time to do this or the way in which to talk about. But my concept of that in beginning the process of doing more things amongst council outside of this formal chamber format is to keep it as informal as possible, like not hiring a facilitator, but rather having people from our community who have expertise in doing the building process, the rebuilding of trust, et cetera, to be able to come and share with us. So that was how I was envisioning it. I certainly wanted to do this in collaboration with each of us and want to make sure, as Mayor Snyder said originally, that we all can be available. So I will be sending that out again because there was no consistent time even amongst the 3 people. But I was thinking a Saturday would be the best time for all of us. I'm hoping that's correct. Then I just wanted to share, because I love the Big Read so much, we have Big Read books here down at City Hall, and the book hubs for those are the Albion District Library, the Snyder Building, the Foundry Bakehouse, 115 Marketplace, the healthcare facilities, and the Cutler Center in the first floor of the Stockwell Library at Albion's campus. And then I have the dates for all of the Big Read events, starting with their kickoff on October 2nd. So I just wanted to, if we wanted to like take a picture and capture those dates, wanted to pass that around. And the last thing is there's actually going to be a color run this Friday, starting at 6 p.m. at the Kresge Gym. I've never been able to do a color run, so I'm really excited that Albion's going to have one. It does cost $25, but I just wanted to share and promote that. That's happening this Friday at 6 p.m.
And kind of going with what Councilwoman Lemieux, the initiative to kind of meet outside of chamber, I am making it a personal responsibility for myself to start meeting with you all in smaller groups on our off weeks, so that we can make sure that we're addressing all the issues and concerns that you all have from your precincts, making sure that we're all on the same page and we know what the needs are. So that's going to be my mission, to start working with small groups on our off weeks. And I do have the October 2nd date on my calendar already, so that's great. Any other council member comments?
So I guess I would just say, for those study sessions before the first regular month, if you do have agenda items, because the notice will still need to be published, just to make sure to get those to Jill in a timely manner so she can have everything ready to publish the packets and whatnot.
And the only thing I would add to that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because like we had a meeting today at 5:30, and it was a challenge for me to get here on time because I come from Jackson and I don't get out of work until 5. So just be aware that I might not always be on time, but I'll do my best.
It's called grace.
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to, I know that there was a lot of stuff that happened over this last week. We had a fantastic festival of courts. There was an inauguration on Albion College campus, and the Albion Community Foundation announced the largest gift to the foundation in history of the over 52-year history of the foundation, which includes a lot of projects that are going to have to come to council for final approval later. So I just wanted to congratulate Mayor Snyder and the big group of citizens that worked on that for the last 10 months to help bring that gift to Albion, to the foundation, and to eventually to the community. And so I'm excited to even just be a very small part of that and work with you all as those projects come up for discussion. The Nicola family is incredible in making that gift to our community, and it would not have been possible without Mayor Snyder's leadership and the leadership of many citizens in the community. So thank you again, and a huge shout out to the Cram family for making the Cram Fund to completely revitalize the train station and create a fund to take care of it forever. So those are some really big pieces of news this weekend. And also congratulations to President Johnson on his inauguration as the 17th president of Albion College. That was a very big deal. His leadership is also bringing equity and inclusion to the forefront in Albion, and that's something that I think all of us on council can get behind. So again, thank you for everyone for being a leader in this community. This weekend was a big showcase on all the good that can happen. I yield.
And I was gonna piggyback on what Shane said, this weekend was pretty incredible. We just had so much going on. It was great to see so many people in our community, downtown, around town, honoring leadership. But I did want to say a huge, huge thank you to our unsung heroes. And those are our city workers.
Yeah.
Those,
Yeah.
I saw them as early as 6 a.m. to as late as the same people.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work to be able to provide the type of services that our community did, not only to our own residents, but to folks that were coming in from outside of town to enjoy everything that we had to offer. So, you guys should be commended for that organization, for the teamwork that it all had to happen to get that downtown beautiful and ready to go for festival. So great kudos to all of our folks here within City Works. Any other council member comments? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So many support.
All right, City Clerk, can you go?
Councilmember Reed. Yes. Jackson.
Yes.
Waller.
Yes.
Lanier.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes, meeting adjourned 8:30 p.m.